when a nightclub roof collapsed in the Dominican Republic, is now seeking homicide charges against the club's owners. The widow and parents of victim Virgilio Cruz filed a complaint accusing the owners of the Jet Set nightclub of negligence in the building's safety design and unapproved structural changes. The family argues there is enough evidence to indict the owners for involuntary homicide and says they will also pursue civil action against Dominican authorities. Meanwhile, New York City Mayor Eric Adams has attended memorial ceremonies to honour those lost in the collapse. Heading over to North America now, and President Donald Trump has proposed sending violent US citizens to El Salvador's mega prison. The terrorism confinement centre, a move likely unconstitutional. While his administration has already deported immigrants there, US citizens cannot legally be expelled under immigration law. Deportation applies only to non-citizens, and forcibly sending citizens abroad could violate constitutional protections like due process and bans on cruel punishments. Trump's envoy, Steve Witkoff, is pursuing legal loopholes, including revoking naturalized citizenship in rare cases, which could make some eligible for deportation. The administration also sees strategic benefits like removing individuals from US court jurisdiction and using harsh imprisonment as a deterrent. However, the Supreme Court has already pushed back against such overreach, and legal experts argue it's illegal to expatriate citizens for crimes. Overall, the policy faces major legal and constitutional barriers, despite Trump's intent and El Salvador's cooperation. Meanwhile, protesters have gathered outside the Salvadoran embassy as President Trump met with Bukele, the El Salvador president, who refused to accept mistakenly deported Kilmar Abrego Garcia, sparking a legal crisis over the controversial deportation policy. This is what people who are part of the protest have had to say.
Today is 34 days after his disappearance, and I stand before you filled with spirit that refuses to bring down. I will not stop fighting until I see my husband alive. Kilmar, if you can hear me, stay strong. God hasn't forgotten about you. Our children are asking, when would you come home? And I pray for the day I tell them the time and date that you'll return.
And we do believe this case is so important because if he doesn't come back, this same pattern could be repeat with every single immigrant or anybody, even a U.S. citizen, that is sent to a concentration camp in El Salvador, which is called CECOT. We're here to protest that Salvadorian President Bukele is meeting with Trump. And we don't want El Salvador to become the new concentration camp of the 2020.
People of Salvadoran origin that have lived here for many, many years, who have children here, homes here, business here, are afraid that, as Trump already did in his first term, he will again eliminate protective status. So this is very, very serious for the Salvadoran community and for all the immigrant communities.
In a heated escalation, President Donald Trump is demanding an apology from Harvard University. The White House says the president is considering revoking the school's tax-exempt status after Harvard rejected a new federal directive from the Trump administration. That directive called for shutting down diversity, equity and inclusion offices, tightening hiring and admission policies, and aiding immigration checks on foreign students. Trump's press secretary says the president also wants Harvard to apologize for what he called egregious anti-Semitism on campus. On Truth Social, Trump went further, warning that if Harvard continues promoting what he called terrorist-supporting sickness, it should be taxed like a political entity. This is what Caroline Leavitt, US press secretary, has said.
First, when it comes to Harvard, as I said, the president has been quite clear they must follow federal law. He also wants to see Harvard apologize, and Harvard should apologize for the egregious anti-Semitism that took place on their college campus. You also had an encampment on Harvard Yard that we all saw play out before the cameras. The university failed to impose formal discipline on any students for this anti-Semitic conduct violations, including the occupation of a campus building and the disruption of class.
Well, in response, Harvard accused the government of overreach and violating free speech. The university says no administration should control who it admits, what it teaches, or whom it hires.